A note for you, dear mamas. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know, recognize, understand that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." Don't see what is happening around you as an inconvenience, but an opportunity. An opportunity to get down on your child's level, literally, and be present. An opportunity for them to see what kindness and patience and peace in the midst of chaos looks like. An opportunity to take inventory for ourselves of what really matters. When work stops, schools close, supplies are limited, what matters? God is not blindsided. He's giving us an opportunity to love intentionally, simplify our lives, clean house, trust Him more fully, faith over fear, contentment over complaint, consideration over consumption, peace over pandemonium. We are the light. Let not circumstance dim your flame. The world is watching, and so are our children. Keep shining. Love, Z. Inspire me to be the highest me. Mommy motivation. So I thought I'd share with you all an incident that happened rather recently in the wake of this pandemic and everything going on and its effect on each of us in very different ways. It is my hope that in the spirit of this channel, that as I give you my lessons and I share my stories and the things that have happened, that you get to embrace and take hold of your own messages. So I don't know that everyone will directly be able to relate to this story, but I hope you find yourself somewhere in there able to take hold and walk out your own lessons through the one that I share today. I was having my typical day with my children, and I began to receive messages that schools were closing, and amid everything that is going on with the coronavirus, I knew that there would begin to be kind of an exodus of people heading to the stores and what have you. They were also canceling a lot of the activities, the recreational activities my kids do as part of just their enrichment. And so I decided I'm just going to head to the store. I'm going to pick up some items. I had already been privileged, and I am grateful that some years back, my family, we conference call my extended family on a weekly basis about the need for having a survivor kit for stocking up on items that may be necessary for all different types of emergencies. And so I did have that, but to be quite frank, I didn't have everything I needed in the form of food. And so I said, okay, I'll head to the store before hopefully the exodus and the mad rush of everyone, and try to at least get some of those items that I knew I needed. And of course, I got my kiddos with me, and so we're all in this store, and I piled them into a cart because I knew I didn't need them walking about among other people just for the sake of it being so many people, not even having to do with the virus, just so many people. And so we're in this store and we're shopping, and I'm going rather swiftly through the aisles and getting what I need, and the kiddos are helping me, and all is going well. I begin to realize that the lines were quickly forming on both sides of the store, two kind of main lines, and this is a bulk store, so there were these two main lines that were beginning to fill up. And so I knew I had to kind of get my pace a little bit, move a little bit more swiftly to try to make sure we could get out of the store. In that process, my son says that he has to go to the restroom, and I'm thinking, no, if he could just hold it till we get home. A little bit of OCD was building up. I do have that, admittedly. But I was hoping we could just get home and then he could do what he needed to do. But the more I saw these lines assembling quickly, I knew that there was no way we would be able to get through that line and him be able to wait. And so I was in this pickle, and I'm thinking, okay. And in the middle of this row, or this aisle that I'm in rather, there's this group of people just gathering, talking about this app that they have on their phone that allows them to scan easily and get everything that they need. And I'm thinking, ooh, this is exactly what I need. So I'm getting the information from them, and I'm, trying to put the app on my phone and go through the process. And my son just keeps looking at me like, okay, I really gotta go. So I said, you know what? Let me get him to the bathroom. And so I begin to walk toward the front of the store. And as I do so, I see these police officers come past me. And in that moment, if I'm being very honest, I did not feel gripped with fear fear. There was not some sort of, oh God, something's terrible happening in the store, we're going to need to, get out of here quickly. I felt a sense of something is going on. And yeah, these officers are taking care of that something. And so I continue to the restroom. On my way, I'm like, okay, where am I going to leave my cart? I spot a mama I do not know who has her children sitting down. She sees me immediately. It kind of connects with what I'm needing. She said, sure, you can leave your cart here, just pull it closer to us and, take your kids to the restroom. And so I was grateful for her. And so I head to the restroom, take care of what my kids needed, and we get out, and the line is now to the back of the store on both sides. Okay, the app that I'm trying to work with, I'm finding conflict with being able to go through that process, and so I just decide I'm gonna get in the line, and so I get to the line. At this point, at one side of the store, it's not fully to the back yet, and I'm grateful just to have been in a place where I could get in the line. And there is, a woman that pulls up right directly behind me. Of course, in this store, there are massive people with masks on and trying to protect themselves. I did not have that, and that wasn't really what I had intended to do. But obviously, I was grateful that there were others that were trying to do that. And so I just get in the line, and my kids are okay. We're all just sitting there. And in that moment, I see a gentleman that is sitting to the left of me on one of the mattresses that are on display in the store. And he is working through this phone. And I just assumed it was the same thing that everybody was trying to do. Get on their Wi-Fi, try to get through this app so that they could just get out the store without standing in the line. But when I looked at his cart, he may have had about 4, at most 5 items in his cart. And so I hear him go and ask a guy that worked at the store who was walking by, hey, could you help me? Could you assist me? Because I'm trying to figure out how to download this app or to use the app. And the man kind of took one look at him, and you could tell there was this kind of place of, okay, I don't really have the time to help you. And so he said, I don't really know how to do it, but you can go to member services and they will assist you. And then I heard somebody else who worked there walk by, and they kind of gave him the same directive to go to member services. Well, I had just stood in an aisle where I'd gotten the information. So surely I'm going to yield that information. And so I said, sir, you need to download the app, Scan and Go on your phone. And he says, okay, there are all these apps coming up. Which one is it? And so I said, it's the one that looks like, and I described the picture of it. And so he looks at the 2 men that are standing there from the store. He says, you know what? Seems like she knows what she's talking about. I'm going to go over here with her. And so he leaves the gentleman and comes over to me. And he's like, okay, I'm walking him through like what to do and what have you. And in this moment, there's a cart behind me and there's a cart in front of me. And I'm saying all this because in the grand scheme of things, I want you to understand the level of what was going on. There are people in front of me that are paying attention to what's going on. There are people behind me paying attention to what's going on. And then you have my own children that are in the cart. And so I'm walking him through the process. And in the middle of that, he turns to my children. He's like, your mom is a blessed woman. She's a blessed woman. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm just telling you about this app that I just found out about. No biggie. He takes out money and proceeds to bless me with that money. And you could see the people in front of me be like, yes, let him bless you. And I'm thinking, for giving him the information for an app, it seems so simple to me. And yet he was yet trying to bless me. In the long scheme of things, he ended up having to call his wife. He could not get on to what he needed to do. And he would need to have gotten to that line that is now in the back of the store. And so I thought, man, he's got 4 items. And so I turned around me to the mama that was behind me, whom I didn't know. And I said, ma'am, this gentleman has like 4 items. Would you mind if he got in front of me? And she says, oh, no problem at all. And as he's getting in front of me, I see the woman that was in front of me at the time. She turns and says, you know what? He can take my place because I've just gone through the app and I'm done. I'm getting ready to leave the store so he can take my place. God bless you. And so he gets in front of her, and now he's in this place where he started out outside of the line. He started out having not a solution to something that seemed to be crippling him with how to even get to be able to find a solution to getting out of the store. And in the midst of that, through the blessing of other people coming together and lending a hand, he's now in front of me. Well, no sooner than he's in front of me, some other random person from the store comes over to him and says, sir, I see you've only got a little bit of items in your cart. There is this tire station over here, and there's nobody in line, and if you would like, you can go ahead and take your stuff. So we're talking about someone who was outside of the line, now at the front of the line, being able to check out before all of us. Well, let me set the stage for what was happening at the same time when I was in the restroom with my children. At the same time, you had two people that were inside the store determining what was best for them, what it was that they needed to do and what they needed to have. And they were in this place of, I've got to get it for me, for whatever reason. The urgency for them needing it superseded their ability to see one another. And in the midst of their debacle of trying to get their own, they end up in a dispute. And in that dispute, one of the gentlemen gets stabbed. And in the midst of all of this chaos, there still seems to be something called peace happening in this store. In the midst of what seemed like that could put us all at risk, in the midst of that, there was blessing upon blessing upon blessing happening in the middle of the store while all of that confusion was happening at the back. What am I trying to say to you? I'm trying to tell you that in the midst of things seeming like they're uneasy, in the midst of the mind seeming like it can't grapple with the trajectory of what's happening right now in our nation, what's happening all over our world, in the midst of there seeming to be some anxiety in people and a huge amount of fear of the unknown, that there is a place for calm, there is a place for peace, there is a place for love thy neighbor as thyself, there is a place for you to be able to be settled. Why? Because in the midst of calamity, in the midst of turmoil, in the midst of dissension, light is needed. See, if we're just going around lighting up rooms that are lit already, what good is that? It is when suffering is happening. It is when people are in dire straits. It is when you have been taken out of your routine and your comfort zone. When you've been told to stay home. When you've now got to homeschool your babies. When you didn't volunteer or sign up for that. When you've got to now wait for provision to be made in your household. It's in those places that light is needed. And guess what? Who is it that's going to present the light? But those who believe, but those who say that the God they serve is more than enough. For those who say that there is peace in the midst of storms. For those who say that there is something that they're holding fast to in the confession of their faith. Faith has to be walked out in the midst of dark places. And so what struck me as being so profound in this situation that I've taken hold as a lesson is that there were witnesses to the fight. There were witnesses to the blood and the ambush that took place in the back of the store. Oh, but God knows there were witnesses to the light that was being shined on a situation where someone who had been a bit disjointed in his ability to get to what he needed was also being attended to, was also being preferred over the other, was also being loved, not because of anything that I did, but because there was a community of people that came together and said, not just me, but you also. Because there was a community of mamas in this situation that said, hey, I've got your card, you go forth and do what you have to take care of. That God was yet sheltering us. He was yet covering us in the midst of the confusion going on. There was still peace. And what I want to say and share with you today is that in the midst of everything going on in whatever situation you're finding yourself in, there is a place for peace. There is a place for calm. There is a place for you to rest in knowing that all things are working together for the good of them that love the Lord and called to according to his purpose. And I'm not confused in thinking everybody on this channel who watches is a believer of the Lord Jesus Christ. But I want to say that there is a place for a free gift to be offered unto you today. A gift that brings peace in the midst of calamity, a gift that says that I have overcome the world. So greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. A gift that says that you can have peace of mind when everything else is trying to bring torment. That there is no place for fear because perfect love casts out all fear. These are the things that I've been afforded through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And these are the things that I would not be who I am in my walk if I don't offer it to you, because it is a free gift and everyone can receive that gift even on today through the acceptance of him and trusting him. I have come to understand that there is a place for love to abide in the midst of fighting and in the midst of all things seeming like they don't have a settling. There's a place for peace and wisdom and understanding. And I've only been able to find that in my walk and in my relationship. And it is that relationship that keeps me knowing that my children are covered. by the blood, that my family is covered, that even though it may seem like resources may get low because, income may not be coming to your house as it used to, and it seems like things are not well, we can still be at a place where we can bring love into our household, where we can get face to face with each other and have time and true, authentic time with our children. That it's an opportunity and not an inconvenience. That it's an opportunity for us to show forth what it looks like to show love to one another, to be in reconciliated relationships, for us to spend time together, for us to get on the level of our children and let them see how we handle situations, even when we're not handling them to the best of our abilities, that we can call upon the name of the Lord, that we can get on our feet, on our knees and pray, that can we stretch forth our hands and ask for help, that we can take the abundance of what we have and go to our neighbor and say, is there something you need? And that we can think about the person that may not have, the elderly, the senior, and we can extend a helping hand. This is the hour where light is needed. This is the hour where what's in you, mama, where the things that you've travailed through already will come forth and be tested. This is the hour. My daughter got home that night and she shocked me because she came to me after us after us putting away the groceries. She came to me and she gave me this big hug, this huge embrace. And I said, baby, what made you hug me so tight, And she said, well, Mom, you were such a blessing today. And I thought, that was through the eyes of a 7-year-old child. In my mind, I was doing what any of us would do to help someone. But in her mind, it was a witness to what it is to think of another. And if that was the only seed planted in the midst of this entire scenario, to God be the glory. And she went in her bank and she gave me 3 quarters, and she was so excited just to give it to me and said, Mommy, this is for you. And I just began to thank God on the inside, because my children are watching. They're watching what kindness looks like, what it is to prefer the other, what it is to think of someone other than ourselves, what it is not to be impatient. And I'm not always that way, but in this scenario, I'll take it for what it's worth, And so I just want to tell you, mamas, no matter what is going on, I pray a prayer of protection. I pray a prayer of peace. I pray a prayer of safety. I pray a prayer of provision over your household, and that more than anything, should those things seem bleak, that God is able to keep you in perfect peace. He's able to restore. He's able to bring everything to bear, because all things work together for our good, and it is well. We can rest. We can take rest in knowing that it is going to work out. May healing be yours. Whatever it is you're in need of today, there is a God who's able, who owns all things, who is able to command a blessing even now for your family and for your household. And I pray that as you walk this thing out, that you walk it out trusting and believing that it is well, and that it will all manifest, not come against every spirit that tries to counter what has already been spoken and what's been said about God's ability to bring peace in the midst of this virus and the spread of it and the pandemonium that's going on, that there is peace in your household, peace in your mind, and that you know that help is there, it is available to you, and that the resources that are needed will be provided, and that all will be well with you in your household. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for watching. I pray that you've gained something. More than anything, I pray that you be blessed and know that you can be still and know and allow God to be God in this situation. Allow us to be closer, to draw closer in our walk, to draw closer in our understanding, and to see what is being said in this hour as it pertains to what we're doing and what God wants to do in and through us. Be a light. Keep shining in your home. If you shine nowhere else, shine in your home. Your children are watching, and more than anything, there is something greater in store for you because of it. God bless you, and you have a blessed day. Mommy Motivation.